What is going on, everybody? It is Alex coming back at you with another video. And today we're going to have a two-parter here because I'm going to give you guys my reactions to the college football semifinals and as well as go over the mock on PFF's mock draft dropped earlier this week. So if you guys are looking just to go for the mock, I'll actually be doing a timestamp down in the description just so you guys know exactly where to jump to for the content you are looking for. But first off, let's talk about the college football semifinals, and that is going to be beginning with Alabama versus Cincinnati. This is just going to be my thoughts, nothing too crazy here. But if I'm going to be honest, the way I watched it is I wanted to see a couple key matchups. I wanted to see how Myjai Sanders played. I wanted to see how Evan Neal was able to handle a guy like Myjai in pass pro. And I wanted to see how Bryce Young could deal with a solid corner core. And of course, the biggest matchup of the night, Sauce Gardner versus Jameson Williams. So bottom line, Jameson Williams was locked down from being a deep threat, but he modified his game in such a way that he was still effective. I think that's something that will be looked at even more positively than if he just won in the same way he did against Georgia with less athletic corners like Darion Kendrick. But Sauce Gardner definitely earned his keep. He definitely has risen on everybody's draft boards with being able to handle arguably the most lethal receiver in college football. So big plus to both of them, even though that doesn't sound right, that one was able to lock down the other and then they both look better. It is just a show that Jameson Williams is better all around than we have expected. Bryce Young, I'm going to be 100% honest. I am not 100% confident in him to be this godsend that everybody thinks he is. I have a very bad feeling about these quarterbacks that are these guaranteed prospects. And I think that we need to see him actually kind of grow into a star quarterback mold. Yes, the numbers support it, but when you watch him play, there's sometimes these reps that just don't exactly look like NFL caliber reps. And yeah, he has those moments. And that is exactly what makes him into almost a bona fide number one prospect. But I will highly suggest that he is not a guaranteed star at the next level. I want to see some development from him next year, but it's going to be very interesting because Evan Neal, in my opinion, did a phenomenal job. Seeing him versus Myjai Sanders in the run game just kind of epitomizes how damn dominant this guy is. Like, we see how athletic he is, and yeah, he's amazing. We kind of forget that he's also 6'7", 345, and that's incredible. He is hyper athletic. He's huge, and he's very well-rounded. I thought he did an excellent job, even if the PFF stats don't fully support it. I think that he did a very good job allowing, I believe, one pressure and one hit. So, I mean, Cincinnati is a high-end defense. I have Myjai Sanders at a 12.75 out of 15 on a very difficult grading scale for pass rushing. He does a phenomenal job. So for him as well, he's done a very good job. I think that, he went up against a very tough test. This guy should be a top tackle in the NFL. If the Texans are looking to shop Laramie Tunsil, there is probably a reason for it. That reason might be Evan Neal at number 3. So just beware about that, guys. I think that he's proven that he's going to be a star at the next level. He might not grade out the best, but he has all the molding needed for somebody to be a star, number 5 and up left tackle at the next level. He can be a right tackle. He can be left. He can be a guard if you want him to. That'd be a waste of his talent, but he has solidified himself as a top 3 prospect in my eyes. And let's talk about the Georgia game. So yeah, Georgia, I hope to God I didn't say Clemson. For some reason, I think I said Clemson. Georgia versus Michigan. I want to highlight Aiden Hutchinson, David Ojabo. Both of them did a phenomenal job. Obviously, Ojabo is still extremely raw, so he's not going to be nearly as effective as an absolute dominant pass rusher like the man himself right here, Aiden Hutchinson. But he is a lethal, dominant threat on the defensive line. I love his push. I love how he was able to get to the quarterback. And the scorecard doesn't show that. You look at the score and it's like, wow, like Michigan got manhandled. And they did. But there are still stars on this defense. Obviously, that corner, number 4, I think his name was like Gray or something like that, or Duke. That's not good. Like he made some very poor plays to me, those plays alone make me very uncomfortable if ever wanting to draft him. So not very good for his draft stock, but you saw some good flashes. Even the wide receiver, I forget his name, but he's number one. I have him actually on my watch list, and he did a great job. Got the only touchdown for Michigan late in the game, and he did an amazing double move, totally faked out that backup safety. So I thought this game was pretty solid. Stetson Bennett did a good enough job for what I expect of Stetson Bennett. Not really spectacular, but at the same time, he's a walk-on. He's a senior. He's able to play at a high enough level to bring this team to where it wants to be. Now, here's the big question. Let's talk about the now championship game between Alabama and Georgia, kind of the expected duo. But I think that this game is really going to depend on whether Jamari Sawyer is able to continue playing at that high level left tackle level. And yes, I said level twice. Get off my tail for it. But it's also New Year's, so happy New Year's. It's past 12 o'clock. But Jamari Sawyer has been playing very well at left tackle, far better than at guard. In my rankings, he is a third round quality left tackle and more of a third day offensive guards. So a little bit worried about him there, but he's been showing that he can be an actual left tackle. Brochmel will talk about how he always gets help. I honestly don't think that that's necessarily true. I watched a lot of his tape today, and he did pretty damn well one-on-one, even against Will Anderson, who he will be facing again. So will he be able to repeat the quite stellar performance he had? I'm not 100% sure. And that's going to be a big test as to whether Stetson Bennett's going to have enough time to allow his receivers to get some separation. George Pickens only playing 9 snaps in the pass game this week, 18 snaps total, 1 reception, 9 yards. But if you actually watch it, as funny as it sounds, that was an incredible 9 yards he did. He was able to reposition his body to get leverage, and he was able to make a contested or a catch in traffic. So really big fan of that. I would love to see how he's going to be able to fare against even linebackers like Christian Harris, being able to try to cover that middle, because Pickens is a guy who you're going to go outside or else you're going to get contested over the middle. So watch out for that. I think that there's a lot to like with what's going to be going on. You know, Alabama's looking pretty solid. I would love to see how Evan Neal is going to perform again against this Georgia front that looks absolutely lethal. And honestly, it's going to be a great game because Kirby Smart's going to bring his all. Nick Saban's going to bring his all. Both have a big amount of juice, and they're going to be coming in ready to just whoop some ass. So I'm excited for that. But without further ado, let's kick right into the mock. Let's check this out. Obviously, this was done a couple days ago, but I saw it and I wanted to comment on it. But of course, I'm not going to interrupt you guys from being able to watch the mock draft, which if you guys love mock drafts, I'm actually already posted the first 2 rounds of mine, and then I'm going to have rounds 3 and 4 coming soon after with team specific mocks. So if you like a team, drop it down in the comment section below. There's probably already a video up for them, but if not, it's going to be coming very soon. So hopefully you guys do enjoy. Starting off with the number 1 pick, Jacksonville Jaguars going Aiden Hutchinson. We all know it. Even in a game that was looking like they were totally outmatched, he still had some very high level, high caliber plays. That is great. KT to the Lions, another guy when he's healthy, and he is an absolute dominant threat. And honestly, that even injured against UCLA, he looked really good. I just hope he can increase his consistency, and that would just make him totally blue chip. And I think that would be great. Texans getting Evan Neal. There you go. Talking about Laramie Tunsil trades. That's probably the reason why. Jets, Derek Stingley. Do not like it at all. At all. Just not a big fan of the value for a corner that has not proven himself over the past 2 years whatsoever. Injuries have been a big question mark. When you have unicorn players like Kyle Hamilton, you take them. You can go after George Karlaftis here if you want to, but if you're going to say that you're going to take a corner, which is much lower value, especially on a lower hit rate than somebody like an offensive lineman or even a safety, which, I mean, you know, Kyle Hamilton's going to be the real deal, or defensive lineman, there's just going to be It just doesn't make sense to say that you're going to do something like that. It doesn't make sense whatsoever, especially given how he's played the past 2 years. Giants going George Karlaftis. I mean, yeah, I think it's fine. I think offensive line's a bigger issue, but as we will see in a couple picks, they do address it in some way, shape, or form. I think that offensive tackle is a little bit more of a need. Matt Peart is, I think, a pretty solid player overall. I've been a big fan of him since day one, but that doesn't make it to where you cannot upgrade that position. Matt Peart is an excellent swing tackle. I think he's somebody to definitely have on your roster, and he's going to be an excellent player to fill in if need be. Number 6, Panthers, Charles Cross. This is more of a what I would do pick rather than what I think the Panthers are going to do. Yeah, they're talking about Sam Darnold having his 5th-year option. They'll have him for 1 more year. That doesn't guarantee that you're going to decide to not take a quarterback. And when you don't have a second, and if I'm not mistaken, not a 3rd-round pick either, that's a little bit of a red flag, that you need to be able to hit on this pick. Charles Cross is probably, in my opinion, the best choice for it. Even with Ike Ekwonu on the board, I think the Panthers need someone who's actually a bona fide starter. But I think you got to take the value where it's greatest, and that's going to be a quarterback. And I also think it's the most realistic. These quarterbacks, if you hit it right, you have them for the next 15, 20 years. Same thing with the tackle. But again, we've even seen with Joe Thomas, even some of the best tackles of all time don't have the impact on a team the same way someone like Aaron Rodgers could have, even though he has David Bakhtiari, but we'll leave that out of the question. The Jets going Kyle Hamilton. I mean, this is a dream pick for the Jets just because he fell. But again, imagine Karlaftis Hamilton versus Stingley, who might not make it on the field in Hamilton. I don't think the value is there. And I know you guys agree with that because we've been working that out every single week when I do a mock draft. 8, Giants, Tyler Linderbaum. I think I redid my evaluation on him, and man, is he a great prospect. I love him. He is in that blue chip level, slightly, I think he's 0.25 lower on his score than a guy like Aiden Hutchinson. So yeah, I'm a big fan of him. He tested the exact same way that I was looking for. Just an unbelievable talent, able to replace Billy Price, able to replace Nick Gates. If you really are that happy with Nick Gates, put Tyler Linderbaum to guard. I don't think Shane Lemieux is a reason to keep Tyler Linderbaum off this roster. Again, I would go after someone with a little more upside as a tackle, but not like Tyler Linderbaum is definitely a really good option too in that case. Washington football team, Matt Corral. Yeah, Matt Corral is actually graded as my QB4. I'm going to have him as my QB3 though. Something I actually have Kenny Pickett as my QB3 graded, QB4 overall. Confusing, but when I do my videos, you'll understand. Something that really scared me about Kenny Pickett is the fact that when he scrambles, 1, it's always to the right. It's so annoying. But 2, he scrambles with the ball in one hand down by his hip. That is literally strip sack city right there. You're just asking for it. So Matt Corral is going to be worth a little bit higher than him. I just don't think Matt goes before Kenny because Matt has some throwing. When you watch him throw, there are some passes that are just extremely off target. And that's a bit of a concern. That deep right side of the field, he's extremely inconsistent on. And some of the times you watch his Tennessee tape, just go back, watch it versus Alabama as well, which is going to be similar to the talent he faces in the NFL. You see where when the windows are thin, he sometimes gets a little bit off target. And that's a bit of a concern. It's not something I used to see from Matt. So to me, that's a red flag. But also his injuries are a bit of a concern. I don't think the NFL is going to be as comfortable with Matt as people think. I don't. At 205 pounds, he's really thin and he's already shown to get injured, even though he's one hell of a competitor. Falcons getting Kenny Pickett. I think this is probably the worst quarterback you could have taken for the Falcons. He is a redshirt senior who has already shown pretty much most of his ceiling. And I've already named my problems with him. It's on a Falcons team. This guy's the most pro ready. Why do you need that when you have an excellent mentor in Matt Ryan? You can go after anybody with more with more room to grow. Malik Willis, someone who can develop a lot, and that's a great way to develop him as a passer and as a developer of a play, being able to make him better at managing a game. Or a guy who is my QB1, Sam Howell. Broncos going to get Kemba Kwanu. Honestly, it's kind of the best case scenario for Denver. It's like, yeah, you do need a right tackle, but again, you have some very high-end quarterbacks on the board. I would honestly take a quarterback over Ikem Ekwonu. And I love Ikem. Vikings going Malik Willis. That is interesting. That is really interesting. I mean, I'm not against it. And if it happens, woo. But I think that the value is a lot better at other positions. You talked about David Ojabo on this squad. The way that Travon Walker played today, I think he's warranting around this pick, especially given the Vikings' tendency to go after larger and hyper athletic dudes. Just also, Sauce Gardner is on the board. Of course, they didn't know how well he'd compete today, so it's not like I can nitpick that. Cleveland Browns, Garrett Wilson. I do that myself. Love it. Eagles, Ojabo, if he falls here, which I don't think he does, I think this is a 5 out of 5 pick. Big fan of it, and it's a perfect fit for both need as well as value. Saints gain Treylon Burks. Honestly, with his athletic upside, with people talking about him being the next DK, I could see it. I think that Jameson Williams now has garnered that wide receiver 2 spot pretty handily, and you can talk about him even being wide receiver 1, but it's at this time, again, you wouldn't even know that. And Treylon Burks is an excellent player. So this wide receiver room could just go at any time. And it's actually quite interesting because it could be Treylon Burks as wide receiver 1, could be Garrett Wilson, could be Jameson, could be Chris Olave for a team that wants a separator. So lots to love. Pittsburgh Steelers, Sam Howell. I would cry. Tears of joy for this. I think he's an amazing quarterback. Yeah, there's some big red flags here and there, but over the grading and over his over just watching him every game in, game out, this guy looks like he is built for the NFL. Big fan of him, and I think he'd do amazingly on the Pittsburgh Steelers. The problem with the Steelers right now is they don't have a line. He didn't there either. So, we've already seen what he could do with a shit offensive line. Chargers going Chris Olave. I think the value might be better on the board at other positions like offensive line, but again, this is a very good spot on not a very deep wide receiver class after the top. So Chris Olave is definitely an excellent wide receiver. Las Vegas Raiders getting Jameson Williams. I mean, yeah, it's literally Henry Ruggs, but better. So can't complain. Eagles getting Trent McDuffie. I'm not a fan of him. I don't think he goes nearly this high. I don't think the NFL is going to be very high on him, given how he literally plays next to an athletic monster in Kyler Gordon. And also, to be honest, he just isn't very exciting when you watch him. So Trent McDuffie is a very solid player, but his athleticism, his lack of ability in the run game it just isn't great. So I'd be a bit concerned about Trent McDuffie, and especially putting him in the first when you have guys like Kyrie Elam and Sauce Gardner on the board. Ravens gain Kyrie Elam. Again, with all the offensive linemen on the board, I highly doubt that their first round pick is going to be a corner that had a pretty poor year overall. Again, looking at the penalties, these Florida corners do like to grab. I mean, it's a man coverage team, but Kyrie Elam is a very good corner. If you think that he's going to be able to succeed Marcus Peters, sure. And if you're going to say screw the other 4 corners that are on our roster, okay. But I think there are much bigger issues on the offensive line that need to be dealt with before taking Kyrie Elam. Miami Dolphins going Jaquan Brisker. I mean, Jaquan he's hyper athletic too. That's the thing. I saw him play, and he has great closing speed. He, as well as Javon Holland, could be arguably the best safety duo in the NFL, which is great, right? Like it's absolutely awesome. But when you have positions like linebacker that are such a big need, and you have excellent players to fit it, like Nakobe Dean, as well as obviously Devin Lloyd, taking Jaquan Brisker seems a little bit premature. Then again, there isn't a second round to this. We don't know how the rounds develop, and every team has a strategy. So does the person who did this mock draft. I'd love to see what would happen in the next round, because this would be very intriguing. I'd be like, it's not what I would do, but it's very fun. New England Patriots getting Sauce. I don't think that he fits the Patriots, but damn, would it be a great fit? I mean, not great. Yeah, exactly. It'd be a great value for the pick. He's an excellent corner, and I'm very happy I was right about loving him. Eagles going Drake London. Hard to think that the Eagles would go after him, but it's funny enough that actually this pick was Drake London in my first ever mock draft for the Eagles. If I see anybody, I mean, it would be one of the guys already taken. So if they decide to go wide receiver anyways, I can't fault them for going Drake London at this point. Again, you're getting a very, very good wide receiver who's a good all around. Just needs to stay healthy and get back to where he was because he is an absolute stud. Cardinals going in Nagbear. Yeah, I mean, I think it's perfectly fine. I like the upside of Trevon Walker more, but again, it starts becoming who do you prefer rather than who is better. Bills getting Roger McCreary out of Auburn. He's an excellent corner, had an amazing year this year, and he's been very consistent over his entire career. So getting Roger McCreary next to Tre'Davious White, that might be the right move, especially because Teron Johnson, he got his contract, but Levi Wallace is up for one, and Roger McCreary would be a big upgrade in my opinion over that. Bengals getting Kenyon Green. Unpopular opinion, he is not that good at guard. I think he is a fringe first left tackle and a second round guard. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of him on the inside. If you want to use him at tackle, I think that's going to be the best move. Buccaneers getting Andrew Booth. I mean, yeah, his athleticism's through the roof. Again, it is really, this corner class can go just like any way, just like the wide receiver class. It's whoever the team type, like the scheme, the team prefers. So it could be Sauce first. It could be Stingley first. It could be Booth first. There are a lot of variables that will need to be hashed out before the draft because each one of them has their own unique capabilities that the others don't. Titans game Bernard Raymond, with some wide receivers on the board, I might go a different way, but man, he is an excellent talent. And I got to watch what happened because there was a bowl game for Central Michigan very recently. I really want to see if he A, played in that, but B, if he did, then see how well he did because he's a fun guy to watch. I'm going to re-dive into his tape just to make sure I go because I am building a full database of everything I've watched for him. So pretty damn fun. Lions getting to Kobe Dean. That's one damn good steal. Love it. Cowboys, Drake Jackson. Cannot think that this is a choice whatsoever. Just not a big fan of it at all. Drake Jackson doesn't even have close to the amount of talent that guys like Jermaine Johnson do. So yeah, I absolutely cannot understand this pick whatsoever. You got guys like Jordan Battle on the board. You have even receivers like Jahan Dotson, who gets taken next on the board. So yeah, Chiefs getting Jahan Dotson with pass rushers on the board. I highly doubt that they would go after a wide receiver like Jahan. Just honestly doesn't add much to the roster. I think that you want to go after someone who's a little bit larger, like David Bell, to be that true inside guy or that true number 3 that you're looking for. Jahan Dotson's a great player, just not a huge fan of the fit. Packers, Jordan Davis. If he falls here, yeah, I think that would be a great fit. He is a dominant interior defensive lineman. But dare I say Devontae Wyatt is better. And they have a guy named, I think, Jalen Carter, number 88 on the team. Like, they have some really good defensive interiors. And Jordan Davis just offers that unique mass and build to offer something that many people can't versus guys like Devontae Wyatt are bringing athleticism and more like skill set than just stuff that you can't develop. So that's going to be the video, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy. Let me know what you guys think about the games and about this mock draft. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys on the far side. Peace.